Talk even for one morning again. Um, for those watching us from South Africa, please get close to a fire because it is very cold. And I remember when I was in high school during math classes, I don't know why, if it is I'm the only one, but anytime a mathematics exam was there, the environment was just cold. I don't know if I'm the only one because we never did math in a warm weather. We never did math in a warm weather. Back then in high school, then in campus, just warm weather, that's just cold weather. Your mind usually freezes. I don't know if they're using it psychologically or what, but um, but the mathematics is one of the good basis for programming because it's all about problem solving. Now, let us jump into the class right away. We are going to overreact, in fact, on everything we are expressing in week 2. And on top of that, I know people are going to enjoy the session. Yeah, thank you for your feedback during the town hall session. I was very flattered for all of that. And I hope you keep up the spirit because the class that I taught since last year in web development, then went for Manstack. The same class are graduating today at Powerland Project. They have undergone a couple of training from all the way from my screen is blurred. Let me reshare. They have undergone web development. They went through Manstack. They went through talent department where they were taught everything to do with preparation of an interview and all that. So that's exactly what they were taught, and now they are graduating. I'm supposed to be there, but I have a class with you guys, so I'm not going to abandon you for the graduation. After all, the graduation is going to be streamed, and it is good for them to graduate. So I'm here with you, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Yeah, so it's a privilege for me to train you. We are now at 1,100 learners. Almost 50% out of those who specialized. We are now 1,100 as of today morning, which is a good number, but I'm just saying a quarter in the class. I hope people will catch up because I usually share the recordings here and there. Don't worry about the LMS. If it is not working for you, just keep cool, keep cool. As soon as it is resolved, you're going to find the resources there. But nevertheless, we have the resources attached via email and WhatsApp as well. So not to worry. And as well, we are here as a community to help each other. We have your peer groups. If you're not in a peer group yet, please just go under WhatsApp community and select one peer group that you want to join in, request. An admin is going to add you there. But make sure you join the general group because that's where a lot of noisemakers are to keep the class going here. It's a good thing to have all of us here. So let me apply the class rules. So the normal class rules is that no hands up until I allow that, and then no, what do you call, no chatting. I'm going to disable that. The Q&A is the only one that is going to remain, but only for questions. So the WhatsApp is not going to be sent via WhatsApp. I'm not going to share a WhatsApp link. You know the rules. The only thing you're going to do is request me via email. Reply to an email that I've sent you. I'm going to see that email, take your email, compare the phone number that we have, or you can share your phone number. This is to make sure that only Manstack learners are within the community because we have people who don't like progress. So they are outside there. They're not bad, but they are going to ruin our flow. So just reply to an email, any email that I've ever sent to you, or email me using your LMS email. Then I'm going to check if you're in my class. And after that, I'm going to add you to the WhatsApp. So if you have email, we can remind because a lot of emails are coming in, a lot. Just imagine right now I have I don't have, for the sent, I have more than 20,000 emails sent. Um, for just this year alone. For the inbox, I don't have many, but they are a lot. So kindly, if you don't have my email, let me just share my email right now. Let me even disable no one to chat. So this is my email. Email me with your LMS email. Then I'm going to add you to the class list. But no offense, if I fail to add you and you email me today, one of the two things has happened. Maybe the internet is down, or you have not specialized on Manstack. And if I find out that you're specialized on other things and you want to specialize on Manstack, that I'm going to deny. But if you have not specialized, I'm not seeing your name in specialization, I'm going to add you to the specialization mailing list because I have a huge mailing list. I have a huge mailing list. For those who don't believe me, let me just show you. Right now, we are at 1,100 learners. As you can see here, it is I usually mark attendance, emailing, analytics for each and every week. I've automated these processes, and also I use everything about the emailing list. So if you're not in my list, it's because I've not added you, or you have not specialized, or you specialize on another module, but you want to specialize on Manstack. We said strictly one module, one module. That was the rules that we were given from above. So there is my email. No, that is the wrong email actually. Let me delete it. I don't know where my mind is. I should be able to compose myself. Yeah, so there's my email. Oh, it is not project, it's project. You see, I don't know where my mind is. There's somebody who is talking about me somewhere. So I don't know why. They are making me do typos. It is very early in the morning. You see, let me delete it. Now, I think this one should be the correct email now. Email me. I'm going to add you. And don't worry. Unless you want to join specialization, Manstack specialization and you are in another module, I'm not going to allow that. Yeah. So anyway, let us jump on this wagon, people. It is going to be an amazing session. As people are streaming in, I can see we are at 300 right now, which is amazing. Let us continue streaming in. The class is going to be amazing. So we started all the way from MongoDB. You remember, just go back and see yourself in week 1. You are struggling, floating. You are the best floating person in the world. Like you didn't know anything. Just take a look back. You were not aware of what MongoDB is, what it does, and everything. Then we went to week 2. You are now, okay, yeah, so this is now the vibe. Okay, good, good. Week 2 was done. Right now, you people can be the best backend developers ever. You know how to work with Express.js, resources are there. Unless you are lazy yourself, you know how to work with Express.js. You know how to save data, how to update data, delete data, do this and this on the data via your API. Right now, if I give you roles of backend developers on JavaScript, you're the best. But it's good thing to be a backend developer, but that doesn't cut it at all. Because being a developer, that's why you're becoming a software developer or a software engineer. I know you can specialize. For me, I specialize in backend, but that doesn't mean that I cannot build a very sophisticated front end. That doesn't mean that. Do you know why we work with all things? Because I have to know what API endpoints I have to give to my front-end developers. I have to write structured codes for my backend to make sure that the front-end developers are able to understand exactly what I'm talking about, how I are my routers. Are my routers just shenanigans or what? I have to understand that. You see, I have to understand everything. Then there are these front-end developers. Front-end developers, they have to understand the backend because how are you able to write hooks? How are you able to write state hooks and services on the front end that link on the back end if you don't know the back end? So there's no like one take it all. You cannot just be a front end developer and then that's it. No, 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 no. You have to understand the entire architecture of the system. That's a must. So I'm seeing a question here. It's better specialize on one. No, for now you are specializing on full stack. There's a reason of specializing in full stack. But after specializing on full stack, you're going to fall in love with one area. So whether it's front end or back end, just make sure you understand every other thing in the software engineering aspect. Just make sure you understand every other thing so that it gives you a higher chance to be able to work with a team. You see? I cannot work with a team of backend developers as a front-end developer, yet I don't understand a thing about backend. It's going to be hectic. So it is better to understand that way. Now, proceeding now, we are now in week 3. You people have come so far. I know some people will have given up earlier on, but this far, let me tell you, after today, the rest of the parts, the rest of the weeks from week 4, 5, 6 are going to be small parts banking on week 1, 2, and 3. Week 1, 2, and 3 is now full stack. Week 4 is combining everything together. It's going project after project, project after project. Week 5 is just handling sockets. Week 6 is everyday life. You normally do debugging and testing. That's normal. Then you do deployment. From week 4, the weeks are going to be running. And please let them run as you run. Do as many projects as possible to be experienced. Don't wait until you have done your final project to say that now I'm a full stack developer. No, no. A child cannot say that he's a grown up or she's a grown up just by going to grade 1. You have to undergo many grades. You have to know a lot of things about what people are talking about, then you can become an adult. I hope you're getting my point. The point is, for you to become experienced really quick, I'll suggest, after learning the basics, now build on those basics. Try and come up with the project. After today, you can come up with a project that has the front end, has the back end, has a database. But before that, let me give a special shout out to a few people here. Let me give a special shout out. I don't know if they are there. So these are people. Let me start with those who have attended week 1 and 2 and did the assignment and everything. We have Solomon. I don't know if Solomon is in, but Solomon Wambua, congratulations, good work. I'm going to just mention a few, but just know if I'm not mentioning you, I recognize that you are participating. I have an attendance here to make sure that you are here. We have Solomon, we have Anastasia, we have Alice, we have James Muchari, I don't know, it's Murachia, we have Dennis Mwangi, we have Lindiwe from South Africa. You see, these people, we have Douglas, we have Dennis, we have Wells, we have Magdalene, we have from Zambia, that is William. These people, congratulations, because you are making me proud, you are making me to continue. And even for people like, I don't know, there are these people like, let me see, this person who is amazing, let me just see, that is week 2. There's somebody who was already done their week 3 assignment. I'm so amazed. Let me mention a few. There's this person from Kenya, that is Dennis Amutsa, a man from Western. Then another person, there's this person from South Africa, is Wamanda. There's this person from which country? We are from Kenya, Peter Nzingu. We are from South Africa, Ndlovu. If I pronounce your name badly, please don't laugh at me. That is just me. We have this person from South Africa again, Shivenga. Hey, that name is very hard. I'm going to bite my tongue even before taking breakfast. We have Meshak from Kenya, Meshak Isava. We have so many people who are amazing. Who are impressing me. I'm so amazed. I'm so amazed. I have Shadrach here. It is Shadrach Okunda. Yeah. Thank you so much. If I'm not mentioning your name, just know I know what you're doing. We follow closely. Yeah. So we follow closely. If you have an issue with the classroom, don't worry. I'm going to sort that out. I'm still figuring it out. So don't worry. So let us continue the class. I had to do that to make a special shout out to everybody. Now, proceeding swiftly, after today, we are going to react with Express now. We are going to react, take a look at JSX. I'm going to take you through Tailwind. Have in mind that anything that is on LMS, that is your content for consumption. I'm not going to use that to teach in class. That is repetition and waste of time. I have my own curated way. So this is just content for you to consume. But you can see we have CSS here, but I'm not going to take you through CSS. But having known CSS, that's the baseline of Tailwind. I gave you resources just to give you a preamble of what you're going to have in class. The reason why I gave you those resources, both on email and WhatsApp, is that in case I miss to cover the nitty-gritty of those resources, you have your time, you have yourself the entire week to make sure that you go through these resources. Good thing that they are documentation, specified documentation. Something like shared CN. I'm not going to teach you shared CN to the end. I'm not going to teach you Tailwind CSS to the end. Nobody does Tailwind CSS to the end. You just use what is there. Just like CSS, you're not even taught everything about CSS. No, 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 no. But CSS is the baseline of Tailwind CSS. It is Tailwind CSS, not Tailwind JavaScript, no, or Tailwind Python. Tailwind CSS. It is from CSS. So if today I'm going just to brush through CSS, don't worry. Just float that like you normally do. Then later on, go and sit down and say, okay, this is how padding is being done. This is how Excel is being done. Excel, that's extra large. This is how our margin is being done in Tailwind. Those basics. But majorly what I'm going to cover today is Java, React.js and JSX and a bit of Tailwind. Why React.js is going to take a bit of time because we have React.js introduction, installation, we have the components, we have JSX, we have hooks and props, we have use effects. You see, use effects. Like I told some of you, use effects are like emotional features in Java in React because they react to anything that is happening. So those are use effects. So covering all of these things might not allow us more time to cover Tailwind CSS to the end. Just a glimpse of it, to jump on it, then see how you can able to do. In the afternoon, if you are there, we are going to see how to do a project. Then, or maybe, or not, we are going to see a glimpse of attaching it to Express.js. But majorly, I'm going to do that on Wednesday during our catch-up next week to show you how React and Express work all together also with MongoDB so that I can prepare to for Monster. So the next week class on Friday is going to be amazing. So come prepared, come jacked up, come jacked up, full. Your stomach should be full that day. Your mind should be ready to learn because I'm going to be throwing projects like left, right, and center. That is what you're going to do, consume. We are going to learn even everything about user authentication. I've not done that. We have not done user authorization and anything. We are going to do everything to do with that and beyond. Now, let me put my phone on what we call do not disturb mode. Yeah, I value people, so do not disturb mode. Now, let us continue. React.js. This is an amazing topic. Personally, the way I learned React was very funny through projects, but I'm not going to recommend that. Now, React.js. When you hear about React, React is not a framework. Hey, I know people are going to, why? React.js is not a framework. Express.js is not a framework. The only thing that is a framework is Next.js. Yeah, Next.js is a framework for JavaScript. I know. Yeah, people are wondering now, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? React.js is not a framework. React.js is a library, specifically JavaScript library, not a full framework, as you may think. Next.js, on the other hand, yeah, a full framework. Angular, yeah, a full framework. But something like React, no, no, no. React is just a library. Express.js is a library because you install it via npm. They come from these package managers. So this thing was developed by Facebook, or you can say formerly Meta. Now it's called Meta. It is developed by Meta. So just to help people build user interfaces that are amazing. But the main purpose it was built was different from what you're doing today. It has just been advanced more and more, more and more. Now, in terms of React, React is declarative, means that you tell React what UI should look like. So you declare, you say, React, this is how I want my UI to look like. React does it for you. Another thing about React that you have to know is that it is component based. So UI is broken into smaller, manageable pieces that are reused everywhere. If I build a button, I can reuse the entire button everywhere in the code or everywhere in the application. I told you earlier on, even in web development, I gave you a glimpse of that. JavaScript, you're doing it as DOM, right? But when you come to React, React is a virtual DOM, virtual document object model. It's normally VDOM. React keeps a lightweight copy of DOM and syncs it with the real DOM only when needed. So this one improves performance, speed, and scalability. So now the concepts, that's the theory. Now the concept that you have to understand. We have something called SPA or single page applications. So React don't reload the page. You see, React apps don't reload the page. They dynamically update the view. They dynamically update the view. You're not never going to see a refresh button here working like every time you do a change, like in what? In HTML. No, React don't do that. They don't reload the entire page. They dynamically update the view or the UI that you're seeing there. So another thing that you have to understand or a concept that is a single page application. Another thing is that data flows from parent to child via props. Now, what is this? What does it mean? This is something called unidirectional data flow. Unidirectional data flow. So data flows from the parent to child. Remember I told you in JavaScript things like about DOM, things like parent-children relationship. So the parent-child, we have that parent element, then we have the child element. So they move data or they flow data from parent to child via props. We are going to see what props are. So this one is going to make data tracking easy. And I gave you two concepts earlier on in DOM about DOM itself in JavaScript. Now, think of React.js like don't know if you have done this Lego set and everything. So components are blocks. So React has building blocks as components, like you're building a house. So each component or each part of building the house is very important. So they are there to be combined to create a complex structure. That's why you have a window. So it has everything that you need. And everything that you're seeing on the UI, these are components. For example, you can have navigation component. You can have what you call a button component. That's why you can go and see in an application, you're going to see each and every button, they are just the same, like the structure. If they're having something like this, you can see here in the LMS, you're having a button that is having that border radius that is a bit curved, and they are the same everywhere, regardless of the size of the button. Those are what we call components. So it was done once, then repeated everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. If you're talking about a drop-down is done once, repeated everywhere. You can see they are the same. You see? If I click this, you can see it was done once, then repeated everywhere. You can see. If you go and take a close look or at any application, you're going to see repeated user interfaces that have been done. That is now what we call React components. Okay, maybe the site has not been built by React, or we can use Vue.js, we can use things like any other thing. We can use Vue.js, Next.js, or anything, but these are components. Now, let us see how to install this thing. Because it's amazing as well, but you really need to know how to maneuver through it, because one step mistake, you're done. Now, let us just drop this down, bring this up. Okay, home, desktop, man stack. We are talking about week 3. Week 3, people, week 3, week 3, week 3, week 3. Yeah, it's okay. Now, I want to introduce you first to something that is very important in the life of React. Earlier on, we were having a very hard time running React application on browser. It was very heavy, actually. It was very heavy. It could take even 5 to 10 minutes to just load an application on a browser that is being created by React. Then came in this blazing server that is super fast. It is called Vite. Now, what does Vite stand for? In French, Vite stands for fast enough, like Vite in Vite meaning. Let us just say Vite meaning. Because I think it's a French thing. So it means French word Vite means quickly or fast. So this server called Vite was built, but there I think with a French person or what. It is really amazing. Now, Vite, as you can see, let us see Vite software. What is it exactly? Because we really need to know how things are being done, because you're going to hear people saying Vite, but don't know what it means. So Vite is a new breed of front-end build tools that significantly improve the front-end development experience. Consists of two major parts: the dev server that serves your source files over a native ES or EschemaScript modules. So with the rich built-in features and astonishingly fast hot module reload. So we have this thing called hot reload. If you've done mobile development, you know what hot reload means, because yeah, that is where you don't want to stress your Android Studio to keep refreshing. So it does hot reload on your application. So having that hot reload, hot module replacement or hot reload of something. So another thing is that a build command that bundles your code with rollup pre-configured to output highly optimized static assets for production or production-ready project. So this is Vite. It's very important for you to understand what Vite stands for, because it is there to make sure that React is very smooth. Not just React, but any other framework or any other library. So we are going to use Vite, and from now henceforth, please just get familiar with Vite. The session is being recorded. Somebody thumbs up if my screen is okay. Thumbs down if it's not okay. If it is not okay on your side, kindly rejoin, because it might mean that your internet has buffer. Yesterday, a lot of things on the internet were down. I don't know if you're aware. You really need to know stuff, because, okay, yesterday I was in a vacation, but turns out that the internet was not working well. I was wondering. Good thing I was not paying money. I was not paying with the, what do you call, with M-Pesa or something, because I would have been in a hotel and then I wash dishes. Anyway, on a light note. Now, Vite. We are going to use Vite. We are going to use Tailwind. I already told you. We are going to use all of these things. But for Tailwind, specifically, I gave you instruction to use Tailwind version 4.1. There's a reason why you're using version 4.1, because version 3 and below, the installation is different, the old version way and everything. But for version 4.1, it's a bit different. The new method, by the way, they are doing it differently. If you go to get started, you're going to see this is the simplest way. But in version 3.4, you can see, you can go to get started. This is the old way. Install these two, come and configure, come and configure. By the time you get here, you have done like 5 steps. You see 5 steps. But for version 4.1, you can check. Even the AI, even ChatGPT is not aware of these changes. It is still 5 steps, but these things are easier now. You can see they're easier. Just npm install that via Vite. Actually, you can see it is working with Vite. So Vite is very important. Then after that, because you configure them in Vite config, after that, you just come and invite config, you're going to see that. Then in your main CSS file, you just do this import tailwind CSS, not the 3 lines that you normally do. Then you can run this, then tailwind is already configured. Then you can use it now in your code. You can use it even in HTML. Somebody should not lie to you. You can use it in HTML as you can see. So you have to understand, like, for example, this one is text 3XL. So the size of your text is now 3XL because we have Excel. We have, just like your t-shirt, we have small, we have medium, we have large, Excel, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, 5XL. Font is bold, underline. You see how simple Tailwind is. Very simple. Don't go there and try to cram or do things. Just keep doing projects. You're going to understand it more. If you do more projects, don't master it. You're not sitting for an exam. Now, proceeding. These two things you're going to be using. So, Vite. Just go through the documentation, understand it, because it comes with a lot of, it comes with React, Vite, anything. As you can see, we have vanilla, Vue, React, Preact, Lit, Svelte, Solid, and Quick. They come with that. And also they come with 2 versions, JavaScript and TypeScript. But for us, you're going to focus on JavaScript. TypeScript is, yeah, get experience first, then you go to TypeScript. As we want to focus on that. Now, this is a playground that you can work with, but you're not going to use this one. It is from bolt.new. If you don't understand the bolt.new, they use it to just project your changes as browser using this tab blazing. Now, we proceed, people. Now, time is really moving fast. Let me open our code. So we have this in place. Zoom in a bit there. Now, we are going to write a couple of commands. Just understand the commands. Don't try to cram them. It is going to be painful for you. Now, remember we said that we can use npm or pnpm. There's a reason why you use pnpm. There's a reason why you use pnpm. And I believe you people already know. I need to know if you really remember why we said that we are using pnpm. Let me see if you have people who are listening. Why are we using pnpm and not npm? npm is good, but why pnpm? I just need to know why pnpm. Reusability, safe storage, amazing, amazing. You people really understand your stuff. Now, for those who don't know what npm is, it is coming from npm. npm is Node Package Manager. It is used to install any dependency or resources that you want to use in your JavaScript or Node environment. That is npm. But npm usually stores modules or dependencies in repeated mode. For each and every project, you're going to find like you have Express in 5 different projects. Yes, it's the same Express. It is giving you that vibe of depleting your storage a lot. Actually, you're going to see at the end of the year, go and scan and check your computer. What folder has taken more of your storage? It's going to be Node modules. Now, thank you for your answer. We can use YAML, that's fine, but then let us just use pnpm for now. It is globally acceptable. If you have, we have Ion, we have pnpm, you have ban. We have a lot. Don't worry about all of this. Actually, I can show you. There's another one that I don't know. Is it Shadcn that they're using? There's another one that has come out. I don't know. I forgot the name, but it's something amazing. Let us go to get started. For example, we want it for what? Let's say manually. There's another one. We have four of them. I saw it yesterday. I don't know where. I don't know if it is Daisy. Uh-huh. Let us go to how to use. I believe that is where. Yeah, we have Dino. We have another one called Dino. You see, we have so many, so many. But I'm going to rather with the PNPM because it is performant. It is performant NPM. It is fast way. It is the fastest NPM. Like works within the framework of NPM, but it's fast enough. It is fast enough. Now let us proceed. I know I'm boring some of you guys. Please just bear with me. Now, if you don't have PNPM, but PNPM saves storage for you. If you installed Express.js last week in a certain project, and today you want to use Express.js, it doesn't need to install it again from the internet. It reuses the one that you did as long as the version is still the same. It uses the one that you used last week as long as the version is still the same. So hence it is going to save storage for you. Now, if you don't have that, make sure you have Node installed. After having Node, make sure you have NPM installed. The best way is to make sure that you have something called NVM, Node Version Manager. Just go and browse these things because some of these things are not going to be taught in class. Now, if you don't have that, just make sure you do NPM install. You make sure it is global. So npm install flag G means global. You're installing in the entire computer. Then you just put p npm. So you use npm to install pnpm. Then you make sure it is there. Let us check. So it has changed one package, which means there's a new version for pnpm. That is no problem. So you have to check the version of pnpm. It is version 10.2, 10.121. So this is in semantic versioning for those who don't know, which means the one there in the far right is the minor changes. Then we have, no, this one is patches, minor changes, and then major changes or major releases. You have to know that. That is called semantic versioning. Now, having PNPM there, you can now come comfortably and do this. PNPM create. I'm now showing you the step-by-step setup. That's the first role that I want to show you. So PNPM create write. Then you put at latest. Then you put the name of the application that you want. What's the name of the application? Let us call it my, or we call it PLP week 3. So you can either leave it at that, or if you are not sure of what you can do, or no, you can leave it at that if you're not sure of what you're supposed to do. It is going to take you to this beautiful GUI, which is going to tell you what framework are you going to use: Vanilla, React, Vue, React Lite, Solid, Quick, Angular, Marco, and others. You see? And as you can see, right now it has downloaded only one. Next time I'm going to use this same command, it's going to say reused, not downloaded. It has downloaded only this part. I don't know what this means, but this is the only thing that has been added. You see? Now, if you're not so sure, you can do this and then scroll. But if you are very sure, you can just come and say template. You put two flags template, then you say, I want to use React. That one is going to fire up. It's going to fire up everything about React, the scaffolding of the entire project in React. But because all of us are newbies, so let me just delete this one here. So you're just going to use the normal way. So as you can see, it is not downloading anymore. Now, just scroll down with your scroll button and then pick React. But because the variant differs, we're not going to use TypeScript. We're just going to use the JavaScript in the third row. JavaScript in the third row. Somebody is going to ask, what is the meaning of this? Somebody is going to ask, what is the meaning of this SFW? You see? What is the meaning of that? That should not worry you. That should not worry you. That is like, what can I say? The transpiler or what? So, the SWC stands for Speedy Web Compiler. So it's a fast JavaScript or TypeScript compiler written in Rust. My favorite programming language is Rust. I'm teaching you JavaScript, but my favorite programming language day in, day out is Rust. I love it so much. Why? It's a it's a low level programming language. When I say low level, it doesn't mean that it's a low quality. No, low level means it is very close to the hardware. So it is easy to communicate to the hardware using Rust or C or C++. Having said that, these languages that are low level, they are super fast. Python is the slowest of all. Slowest of all. Yeah, take that to the bank. You can go and research. There's no argument about Manchester or Arsenal. It is just facts. Python is the slowest because it's a high-level programming language. It is not very close to the hardware of the system. But Rust, C, and C++, they are the fastest because they are low-level, closer. Then we have Go, and so on. So it's a speedy web compiler. So you can decide to use this one or read this one. But because we are new, all of us, let us just use the JavaScript pure. Or you can decide to use anything JavaScript, just use it. So the speedy web compiler, imagine you have Vite, which is very fast. It's a server which is very fast for serving web. Then you have the speedy web compiler, SWC. Now, imagine the super fast thing that you're going to have. So you can use anything. So it is designed to drop in replacement for Babel. You know, we have this thing called Babel or TypeScript, offering significantly faster compile times. So let us go with that. Just hit enter. So we have picked that one. Somebody can just take a screenshot to understand what you can be able to use in future. After that, people just follow the instruction. cd, change directory into that, then do pnpm install. Just follow instruction that you're seeing there. Should not be an issue. So as you can see, for the first time, it is downloading some of them. It is reusing, as you can see, it is reusing some of the dependencies. So the next time I'm going to do the same project or do this, you're not going to see anything about downloaded. Never. You're going to see just things about reusing. I can prove that, by the way. I can prove that. Let us go to the home directory. Let me prove that pnpm is powerful. So let us do a project. So let's say pnpm. Remember, this is a different directory. pnpm create, then say Vite, latest, and then you can say my app, right? So I hit that. Then I come and choose React, then that. So when I say cd, my app, then do pnpm install. Please don't betray me, pnpm. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Reusing, downloaded 0, reusing 117. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to, even if you shut off your computer and open it again, reusing all the time. So which means you have more storage space. But when it comes to NPM, every time it's going to download, every time. Now, for the fact that for those who don't know, pnpm, let me just, pnpm is written in my favorite programming language. If I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong, pnpm is written in my favorite programming language. Okay, it is written in TypeScript. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me just browse. Some parts of pnpm are written with pnpm with the Rust. Same as Ion. Actually, Ion is written with has been written with Ion, some parts of that. It's amazing. Now let us proceed. Let us just cd, then remove my app. Amazing. Now we have entered into that. Let me close this one so that you can open it. Well, we are almost 1 hour and we have not covered even something, but this is very important just for you to understand the flow. Now, from there, people, from there, we want to install, the next thing after that is normally to install all the dependencies. But the first thing that we want to install after React is what? Tailwind. So just come and follow the instructions. You have to just copy. Just copy. Let me see. Yeah, copy. I'm going to show you how. So just copy. And then instead of doing install, you come and say pnpm add. pnpm add. pnpm add. It's going to add things. Just like that, you're done. So it has added two things. So npm install, you come and do pnpm add. One and the same thing. Then you come and check, okay, now you're supposed to go to this, right? So you just come and copy everything here that you're seeing, or just copy these two lines. Because you're going to find this, the first line, you're going to find all of this. So you just come and follow instructions, by the way. So you go to config. So this is what we have. So you come and take this. So you just follow everything that they're doing here. You come and copy. Then you come and do the same thing. Then because it's a plugin, so right now we have React per plugin, right? That is a React plugin. So for you to work with plugins, just make sure you put a comma. Then you can put another plugin that you want. So our another plugin is called Tailwind CSS. Just copy everything that you're seeing there. Tailwind CSS, just like that. So just follow everything that I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing is going to be fine. So after this one brought this plugin. Line 2 brought this plugin called React. Line 3 brought this plugin called Tailwind CSS. Now, after that, what next? You just come and follow instructions. You come to your main CSS file. You're going to find many inside SRC. You're going to find index and then you're going to find app. So for you to know which one is the main one, go to main.jsx. So main.jsx is going to give you the main one. So the main one is called index. So you come and remove everything that you're seeing there. But before that, people are wondering, okay, you're going so fast. Hold on, hold your horses. Yeah, I know. So we want to know if this thing works, first of all. We want to know if it works. And I'm going to explain that, first of all, each and every file. We have Vite config for everything configuration about Vite. Readme file, you all know. Bucket.json, very important file, is going to split dependencies into developer dependencies and dev dependencies. The dev dependencies, these are dependencies that are not supposed to go to production. When you deploy it to your cloud environment, it doesn't go there. It just remains at your code base. It is not being used in the cloud environment. But the normal dependencies that you're seeing here, these dependencies that you normally see here, they are the normal one that go even to the production level. You see? Now, for this one are just being used currently in the project. You see? Somebody saying go back. So now, I've already explained this one. This one I should not be able to stress so much because it's not that important, but super important. For anything Vite configuration, go through the documentation that I gave you. You're going to understand more. This is the file called package.json, very important. As you can see, this is the thing that I told you. So when you see the type, so the type right now, it is called ES module that you are using. So we are using ES module. We are not using common.js. Say that countless of times, go and understand that. So the ES module allows us to use import, export. But common.js allows us to use the const, require, and so on and so forth. Then we have this one is now the main file that you normally see, that everything about React now renders inside this file. Everything about React renders in this file. Like right now, you're going to see Vite plus React. Or even I can come and put my name plus. There. Then when I run this one, you're going to see that it's going to go for the main file for JavaScript. This one is representing DOM. And then we have other meta tags. So this one comes with a lot of things about DOM, converts it into HTML. So let us see. For you to know how to run the project, just come here. This one is going to give you everything. So run it using dev. So this one is going to be pnpm run dev. Remember, we're using pnpm. pnpm run dev. That one should fire up something like that. Then when you come to localhost 5173, you should see something like this. Okay, it is not, why is it not rendering my name? Okay. Maybe I'm delusional. Oh, this is the title. Sorry. I saw it wrong. You see, this is the title that you normally see here. Yeah, something like that. Fight, react, dead end. So that's the title. Sorry, I thought my mind was somewhere else. So as you can see, it is not refreshing the page when I make changes. So you should be able to know the flow of React from the word go. So go to the index.html, start there. So you can see it is pointing you to main.jsx. So go to main.jsx. Let us see what is happening. So we have React imported in strict mode. Then we have the DOM for React that is enabling us to render everything in DOM. Then you have the source file for your styling. Then you have anything that attaches every other component. So app.jsx attaches every other component and then every other UI together. Then it comes to there. Then from there now you can be able to render it, as you can see here. Line 8. We are able to render it inside here. But in what? In strict mode. Strict mode, which means every rule should be adhered. Just go and understand what strict mode is. So let's you find common bugs in your component early during development. So it is very strict in that way. It's like your parent disciplining you before you continue stealing, before you are a grown up and you are a thief. So it's trying to regulate you early enough during your child development. Okay, I'm not saying anyone is a thief here, just giving an analogy. Sorry. Now, as you can see, it is rendering here. Now, we started with index.html, right? We were pointed to go to main.jsx. Now, from main.jsx, we can now go to app.jsx. This is where the real deal is being done. Now I can be able to see everything here. Don't worry, we are going to explain what this means. We are going to explain what this means. This means what you're seeing here. These are called hooks. Then you're going to see what now? This is now JSX that you're seeing here, called return. JSX is just HTML, by the way. It's just HTML. So here now I can come here and say plus dead end. Then it's going to refresh, as you can see. Simple. Simple and clear. Very simple. I can even come and say Okware. In a blinking of an eye, let me see. Oh, I've not typed anything. There you go. So it is not refreshing the entire page, just dynamically refreshing the components within. Now, I've already fired up everything we know. Now from here, people, you're going to do a lot to see how components, they come and converge all the way here. Now this one is the place whereby you can do anything and go home straight. Now, we were in Tailwind. I cannot be permitted to go to Tailwind. So this is the file that you're supposed to copy and come here in index.css, remove everything that we have and put that there. I know this thing is going to bring the UI like that. Don't worry. We are going to style it step by step. So that's the first step. Initially, we used to put here Tailwind base, Tailwind components, Tailwind utilities. But now, for version 4, this is what we do. Remember, even the AI doesn't know how to do. It is not updated with the latest Tailwind. Not yet. We are going to go to ShadCN later on. I'm going to touch on that maybe in the afternoon. But it's for your consumption. Now, people, Because we started here, this is the thing that we did in web development. This is saying root because it is touching directly on root. And you are going to see it, how it works. This is where the root is being referred. You can see create root document.get element by ID, then render it in strict mode. You see, this is the ID that you're talking about. It is just DOM. That's why I said, if you've not understood DOM, that is basic JavaScript, please understand it, because it will be very crucial for you to understand everything that is happening here. Very crucial. Now, because after going to main.jsx, we were told, please go to the next person who is the manager of everything, which is this one. Now, to style everything, as you can see, to style everything in here, we are able to be pointed here. Not to worry, but our code is going to fall inside here. That should not be able to worry you at all. So just make sure every time index.css has this one, not this one. This one, even you can remove it. We are not concerned with that. But let me explain JSX. People, allow me to explain JSX in deep. Because after explaining JSX, we can see the next step that we can be able to go. We can see the next step that we can be able to go. So just permit me to go there. But before that, let me take questions. So let me disable this so that I can answer questions. People take advantage of that. So is there like a tutorial-based follow JavaScript manual? There are many in the internet. Malimo, I have issues. I've already said I'm going to solve that. It's still in play. I had a question. What is the essence of validating inputs in the front end and also in the back end? Will there be conflicting validation between the two? So most of the time, the reason why you validate inputs on the front end so that they can be able to sync with the validated inputs at the back end. That is essentially for just communication of the two stacks and for security measures. Willing to help out anyone who is stuck between. Nice, amazing. Thank you, Dennis. Good day, Dan. I have a problem with my machine. I've been trying to install MongoDB. I think I can refer you to Angela. Angela is our expert now. I believe Angela is in class right now. Let me check. Angela is not in class. Don't know why. Or you have changed your name. But you were in class just the other time. Let me see. Yeah, Angela is there. Thank you. I hope you don't mind for me referring you to like Sam. But Sam, don't take the number. It is very early. If you know what I mean. I downloaded the MongoDB server community, then downloaded, got completed, it restarted. Was up to 700 MBs. Well, okay, I have not expressed that. Can you get on with the class? Yeah. These are for already. I worked on that. Please, can you share the codes? Yeah. I don't have the codes. I just pull it out of my head sometimes. Yeah, I'm going to have the code after that. So can one special lesson? There's one thing having one more knowledge for show off, but there's one thing specializing record. Yeah. If the workflow fails on Git submission, on assignment submission, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Node.js is a runtime environment for JavaScript, for everything JavaScript. So your screen is not moving. Kindly record. I'm trying to record the session. I'm taking everything. Cloudflare. Yeah, floating is okay. That is a very normal feeling because right now we are reacting to Express. Now, how do you delete npm? No, you don't delete npm. You just need npm to work with npm. Just keep using for each new step. Stack. Just follow what I'm doing. Don't do alongside what I'm doing because you're going to stuck somewhere. Index.css. Index.css. Now, I'm going to allow a forum for question. Now, Mm, hold on. Mhm. Now, okay, sorry for that. Okay. Now, we want to build on a certain, like, can say, just in the part of explaining JSX. So when you hear about JSX, I've already told you that this is JSX, but that is not sufficient enough for you to understand what JSX is. So just to bring a context here, JSX is like a syntax extension that allows you to mix HTML and JavaScript logic. We also have TSX. So JSX stands for JavaScript XML. What is XML? XML is extensible markup language. Now, we have JSX and we have TSX. Now, JSX is for JavaScript and HTML working together. And then you have TSX, which is TypeScript and HTML working together. So when you we can use Babel to compile JSX into what you have seen, but now we are using speed, like the Speedy Web Compiler, the SWC instead of Babel, which that's the same thing, which compiles our JSX into HTML super fast. Let me give you a certain example. Let me give you a certain example. So what I'm going to do is, let me just delete everything here that you're seeing here. So let me give you a certain example, just for you to be able to understand what JSX is. Now, back then, we used to do this, font, maybe heading, and then this is how you can be able to render it. Like if you decide to render it, you come and say, this one is H1. Come and say, hello, PLP, and then you come and close H1. Now, this is how we used to render it. So I'm just trying to bring a certain analogy here of DOM, right? But now, this one is going to be equivalent of what? So this one is going to be equivalent of something like, we can say, let's say, in this case, React dot create element, because we are using React to create element. And then what element are we creating? So this one is HTML that you are talking about. Now, for us to be able to create this exactly what you're seeing here, we have to create an element. So H1, we create an element called H1. And then you can say, let us also create null, because here we can have even something. Okay, I'm just trying to piece in something, some of the information. Then I'm going to state the rules of the game. Now, we can be able to create a lot of things, even null is not a must to be here, by the way. So, and then the content that is there is called hello PLP, right? So then you close. And also this one you close. So people, line 11 is equivalent to line 13. Now, rules in JSX. So, must return one parent element. I'm going to tell you to show you why. I'm going to backtrace, then show you why. Another thing, we're using class name, not class. When styling, you're using class name, not class. Class is for CSS. Class name is for Tailwind normally, or even Java or CSS in React. Another thing, you embed the entire thing. You embed the entire JS JavaScript expression in curly braces. That is what we normally do. Not to worry, I'm going to explain everything. JSX is a very complex topic. If you start talking about it right now, it might take forever. So we really need to understand it much better. So let me backtrace so that I can show you one of the rules that I'm talking about here. So just backtrace. Now this is what I'm talking about. When you say about return one parent element, you can see line 10. So this is an element, but this element is not specified. So most of the time you come and say, normally say div. Most of the time you normally say div. So that's one parent element that has many children inside. So this parent element you open, then you close. But I'm not advising you to use that one. So just make sure you say div. Make sure you come and say div. Just make sure you do that. So the parent element here, you can see it is called div. I've minimized it. We are having a div. And then what have I said? That the JavaScript scaffolding that we have has to be enclosed. The entire JSX, the SX is this one that you're seeing here return. But the entire JavaScript, everything, the function, make sure it is enclosed with curly braces. So it is acting like a function, right? Now, that should not be a problem. Remember, we can talk and talk and talk a lot about this until tomorrow, but unless we find an answer exactly on how we are supposed to do. But I want to spend more time. I want to spend more time in JSX so that you can be able to understand exactly what it is. But I'm going to pinpoint one or two things here so that we can be able to like understand exactly what you're talking about here. So in that essence, we want to work in a certain scope that we want to do a smaller project that is some of task management. Then we can be able to understand from there on. So people, you are going to allow me to just delete a couple of things here. So just delete the entire thing here. So as you go, come and see this one here, and I think it is not there. Yeah, should be a white space there. Now, I've already initialized everything. Let us now jump into the project. What you want to do, people, you want to do maybe a user task dashboard that has the JSX and tailwind styling. We're going to see state and state hooks and everything about state and the props. We're going to see how use effects works, and we are going to call it a day. Then you can jump into the afternoon having that in mind. Now, first things first, what we saw here, you see, what we saw here, we are going to be using that. We are going to bank on that. Then we are going to see how to help each other to make sure that everything is well aligned, right? That is what you want to do. But first things first, let us do something small. Now, I'm going to do import. We import, that is index. I don't know where I can find it. Okay, we are here. Our index is the same place, index.css. So we're importing index.css. Why are we importing it? Why importing it? Because it has Tailwind. So because it has that, let us just forget about this. We are not going to use that one. So after that, there's so many ways of importing or exporting or working with React. But the default way that we can be able to work with it is export default function. You can use that one, or you can use arrow function if you don't mind. We can use a lot of ways. So you can use a lot of ways, but let me just use the one that is much quicker. Remember, we have so many ways, but we are going to use any way that is going to be a bit quicker. So we come and say export, then you come and say function. The function name is called app. So right now we are initializing and exporting. So it's exporting it by default to once, no time to render. So after doing that, as you can see, nothing yet. Remember, this app.jsx is going to render inside this main file, and this main file is renders inside index.html. So as soon as this one is happening, the other thing is going to happen. Now, I'm just going to show you something, then I'm going to explain. So we are going to say return. So you're writing a small JSX here, then bringing up a parent element. Then this parent element is going to have a header, right? So let's say something like task dashboard. You can see here, the top left corner, we have something like task dashboard, but don't worry. Let us style this thing. Don't worry, I'm going to explain the styling, of course. So we want to put the minimum height. So we want to cover full viewport height. I'm going to explain the styling. Covering the full viewport height, this is how we do it. Minimum height. Then you come and say screen. Remember, these stylings are all available in Tailwind. Just spend time in doing them. I'm not going to explain how they work, blah, blah, blah. It comes with experience. So background, I want it to be gray. But we have so many gray such that we have shades. We have shades of gray. So I'm going to use shade 100. We have shade 500, shade 200. It's all about of shades. As you can see, if I can change it to 600, I don't know if they are 600, but you can see we have shades. You can change it to 300. It is still gray, but in a certain shade. I can change it to 900, deep shade, as you can see. So it's all about shading. So we are going to use shade 100. It's a bit dull. And then I'm going to provide spacing. So I'm going to provide spacing that is padding. So P, I'm going to say 6. That is what you're seeing there. If I say P16, you can see it is still moving. You can see it is still moving. So padding, you can play with it how you want. Let us put it as 6 for now. Now, let us come to this one. As you can see, I'm styling it simply, like in a very easy way. It should not be even stressing you. So class name. So let us work on this as well. I want this text to be very big. So I'm going to say text 3XL. Imagine how easy is it to style this thing. As you can see, it is moving. I can say even 5XL if I want to. It is now becoming bigger. I'm not zooming, but it is 100 right now. So let us just put a 3XL, bit standard. Now, I want the font to be bold. So what I'm going to say, just say font bold. As you can see, what you're trying to understand is that most things, styling in Tailwind, you normally use hyphens a lot. Font bold, just that. And when you go there, it is now bold. Yeah, it is bold. Then I want it to have that things like MB4. I'm going to say MB4. Don't worry, you're going to see that later on. I'm not going to tell you what MB4 means. Go and Google it. I'm trying to, don't want to explain things so that you rely on everything that I say. Now, people, in a nutshell, we have already styled this thing just by saying index. Just if I comment this one out, we go back to everything where we were, but it's going to work as well by the because it's already compiled. But let us just use that way. Now, Tailwind utility first approach avoids using standalone CSS. That's the thing that you have to understand. Now, this one is just an initialization. Now, let us go and work now on the component for task. Then you are going to work on this later on. This is just showing you, okay, this is what you can do. Now, for you to work with that component, go to SRC folder and then go and create a folder called components. SRC folder, then create a component folder called components. Then inside components, you can come and create your components. Call this one task.tsx. Now here, people, it's going to be very smooth. We are going to run with it. It should not be an issue for you, by the way. We are going to run with it. Just bear with me. What we are not going to use, we are not going to put it here. If you're not going to use states, we are not going to use it here. So From now, I'm going to say export, default, then say function. Call this one function called task. So this one is going to take what I'm going to say is called parameters. Later on, I'm going to tell you that these parameters are called props. And what are props exactly? Don't worry, browse it. Props. What are props? Let us see what props are. No, these props are, they're not what I'm looking for. So props React. Let us see. So React props are fundamental concepts in React used to pass data between components. Have that in mind. I already explained that, by the way. Props are used to pass data through components from one component to another. That is called props. So they take these, what do you call, parameters. They are called props. They are short for properties. They allow you, the parent component, to send data to a child component back and forth. So they are reusable UI. So they are going to pass up props. So these props, we just put it this way. So you take an ID, that's a parameter. You take title, that's a parameter. You take what? When you're creating a task, what do you need? You need a task that is unique. So you put an ID. You need a title for the task. You need is it completed or not? So you come and say completed. Then you need a toggle. A toggle means it is going to help you to switch between complete and not complete, or to do a lot of things. But for now, we come and say on toggle. And as you can see, I'm using camel casing. So have that in mind. Now, after that, we come and do that. Now, we want to put our return. So return, when you say return, you just say this person is just doing JSX. So we come and put our parent element, div, you see? And then we start doing things inside div. You see, we start doing things inside div. So remember, I've already told you, ID, title, completed on toggle, these are props governing the UI and the behavior, because it's dynamic. It offers dynamics inside there. Then we want to put conditional classes inside there. These conditional classes are going to help us to know how Tailwind is going to behave and how JSX is going to behave. Then event handlers, like triggers. Like this one that you're seeing here on toggle, this is like an event handler there that you're seeing. But let me just style this one. So styling this one, you have just to sit down and say, how do I want my task? That task that I'm going to create, that one line of task that I'm going to create, how do I want it to be? So first of all, I want it to be in a flex mode. I want the item to be at the center. So items, you come and say items center. Just as that's that. Then you come and say, I want justify. So justify, we have justify, a lot of justifies that we can be able to use. Let us use justify between, and then let us use padding 4. And then let us have a background white, the default one, without any shade. Of course, don't have a shade for white, by the way. Then we can say, let us have it be rounded. Then have a shadow. Then have MB4. I don't know if you have Googled about MB. I don't know if you have done MB. I don't know if you have done that. How many have done that? Thumbs up. Just MB. By the way, when we talk about MB, we have MB, we have MT. So MB is just margin bottom. As you can see, I've said padding is P4. MB is margin bottom. Simple. You should be able to run with it, by the way. It's very simple. Now, after that, we're already done with that styling. Just visualize things. By the way, when you're coding, visualize as you go. Let us have span. So span, when you don't want to use any, you don't know what element you're going to use, just use span and move with it. So span, what you're going to put here inside span is now dynamics. We are going to say, let us have title. Yeah, let us pass that prop, because for you to use that title here as dynamics, you have to pass it as a prop, as a property or as a parameter for you to pass the data, by the way. Now, inside this styling, how do you want our title to be? How do you want our title to be? So we are going to say class name. We are going to say class name. So if it is completed, so imagine we want to put conditionals, conditional classes. This is something that I want to teach you right now. Conditional classes are, if this is happening, let the color be this way, or let the styling to be this way. If it is not, let it be empty. So if the title is there, like if it is like the title is there, of course, but if it is completed, if it is marked as completed, how do you want it to be? So we are going to say completed, but I'm just going to put that dynamics there. So if it is completed, how I want it to be completed. Then I'm going to say if it is completed, the following should happen. So we are supposed to strike it. You know how you put inside your paper when you're writing your budget and say that now I've already paid for the internet, you strike a line through it, internet paid. That's the exact same thing that you're going to do. So you're going to say line through, exactly that, like that. Then you're going to put a text for gray. So you come and say text gray, put a shade for 500 maybe. So if it is completed, if it is not, now this one is another condition. If it is not, just leave it. But I'm supposed to remove this one because I'm realizing we have errors. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is line 4 is now conditional classes or conditional styling. If it is completed, not complete. If we have completed the task and marked it as completed, please strike it with a line and put it as gray. Are you getting the point? You see? You see how Tailwind is amazing, how you style it, just like talking in English, speaking in English. Now, from there, people, we have done that. So the title, if it is completed, strike it as that. Then let us put a button. So this button is going to perform a lot of things, not to worry. So for example, we are going to say completed. If it is completed, you can undo. You can come and say undo. Just say undo. If it is completed, just say undo. If it is completed, if it is not, just say done. You can mark it. So the button is going to have features. So remember how you put a button, say, click me or delete. So that button, if the task you are doing, it is not completed, it is going to mark it as done. If you have marked it as completed, you're going to put it as undo. You can undo the task that you're going to do. That is going to change all of this. I'm giving you hard content so that you can be able to digest it much and much. I don't want to give you the usual because it's going to spend much time for us. Then you're going to put a class name here, then go and say, also, let us have the conditionals by the way as well. So the conditions are, we want to put something here. So let me just come and say px or padding x something. We are padding on the x-axis, having it as 3, padding y, having as 1. It's going to be rounded. And then we are going to say, don't worry, you're going to see this UI. In real life, you're going to be amazed. So whenever you're seeing backticks, that is called template filters. That just know there's something dynamic that is going to happen. So come and say completed. And then you just repeat everything here. You see this thing. So you just come and say that background of that button is going to be BG green with a shade of 200 maybe, or even to 20 or 200. Let's just put a 200. And then we can say, let me think. So this one is supposed to be covered by the, like that, just like this by the, so if that styling keeps going like that, we can come and say the other ways. So if it is completed, the background color should be green. If it is not, the background color should be blue. BG, I know this is hard stuff to digest, but I hope you did your research. Floating is, it is constant. Floating is constant. Mhm. Now, it's good to put things in. When I'm taking question, I'm going to take a calls. People are trying to reach out to me like a million times. Now, that is done. We are not done yet. Why? Because we want to react. When you click, what is supposed to happen, people? When you click, what is supposed to happen? So you can come and say, when you click, you can say on click. One click, then you put your arrow function. Remember our friend arrow functions that we have been using? Yeah, can come and say on toggle. On toggle, you toggle by ID. Now we have completed everything there. Don't worry. As soon as I pass this one to, you're going to be shocked. Close this one. Yeah. So this component is done. This component is done. But you're going to interpret, go and go through every line, you're going to understand it. Because I've done a lot there. Now, let us add and manage the state because when you're talking about data, of course, the state management. People are going to use other state management tools, but let us just use the default. So we'll remove everything here that we have. Remove everything that we have here. Then I'm going to say import. So we import the state functions, remember? So import, use state. So it comes actually, by the way, like that. And then we need to import our component. So import task from component task. Amazing. It's coming automatically out of the box. Then you come and say export. Come and say export. So we are going to make sure that everything attaches here. So having in mind this one, we don't need to come and every time you want to use the tailwind, you just need to import it once, right here. The other one that we saw here was an example. If I removed this one, the UI was not able to work. So we come and say export. Export what? What exactly are we exporting so that we can be able to see export default, default function. Export default function. You can say app. That's exactly the thing that we have been doing. Now, before we go to before we go to what we call JSX, let me explain a concept here so that we can be able to jump on it easily. Now, we have something called state management. What is state management? Because we have used state and everything. I've already explained the theories behind Tailwind, right? So let us take a look at, first of all, let us start with I've already explained components. We are using it all over and over again. And the parameters that you normally pass, they are called props. Now, what are props and props versus state? We need to understand them. So props, they are passed from parent to child, but they are read-only. You cannot modify them. When it comes to state, you manage inside the component. So you use state to create local state. So you can just come and browse. You see these things, don't be afraid. You come and say state React. Now, what are states? If you don't understand things, you browse. So React. In React, state refers to the object that holds information about a component's current situation. You see? So this information can change over time, typically as a result of user action or data fetching. Now, and when the state changes, React re-renders the component to reflect the updated UI. What does it tell you? It can tell you that it's a local database holding something or something. But don't worry, I'm going to explain exactly what your state is. You already have the definition. But it's normally divided into three. We have something holding the current state, the current value, a function that is going to operate that current value, and all we have something that is holding the data type. So in functional components, we can use the state hook. Use state hook to manage state. The syntax in you can see here, const, the one that I'm highlighting here. This one is very easy to understand. So where state, you can see where this one, the state that we're seeing the first one, where state is the current value. If the current value is 1, this one is going to be 1, or holding the current value. And the set state is the function that updates the current value. So we started at 1. So we said if the set state function updates this to 2, the state becomes 2. And then when the state changes, React re-renders the component to reflect the updated data. So from 1 to 2 updates to 2. Now, how about this one? This one holds the initial, or you can say the data type for the value. If the value is a string, it's going to be a string. If the value is array, it's going to be array. If the value is a number, it's going to be a number. Are you getting the point? So that is state management. Divided into 3. One of them is the current value. If we are talking about my name as a string, state is going to be dead. Set state is the one that is going to keep updating. Is there working hard to make sure that what is happening, let me update. So if it updates from dead to Okware, the state becomes Okware. And why are we using Okware instead of a number? Because the use state is saying that we are working with a string. So state is mutable, which means it can be changed. It can be changed. And we are talking about set state method. So in class component, that's what we're talking about. So try and understand use states or state hooks because they are very much important for you to be able to understand. One, holding the current value. Another one is a function that updates the current value. Another one is there to make sure that we are maintaining the data type. If it is array, array. If it's an object, object. If it's a data, if it's a string, a string. Now, let us proceed. I hope you are getting now the point. That's what I'm going to explain here now. That is now state. Then later on, I'm going to tell you things about state and use effect. Use effect is the one that reacts the emotional property in JavaScript in React. Now let us continue because we have already done the task component. Let us see how to manage this state. So to manage this state, we are going to say const. We are going to do like that. Then tasks. So when you see tasks, the first one there, that one is going to handle or to hold the current value of the tasks. And then you're going to say set tasks. After that, we can have the one that is responsible for data type. So use state. Then inside here, you can now put, as you can see, we are talking about an array. So within here, you can have your data type or you can have your data actually. You can have your data type or have your data. If you don't have your data type, if you don't have your data, just that's okay. Let the props pass it. You can leave the prop to pass it. But because we're talking about an array, right? You can see you have put an array. So which means in this array, I can have like data types like we're talking about something like the one that you have in MongoDB, right? So you can have ID 1. We can have title. In the afternoon, I'm going to tell you how to do it dynamically. So you can come and say title, write lesson plan. Like for example, what I was doing today morning. I woke up at 4 to prepare for this class, then completed. So by default, complete is normally false. If you have a task, if you're writing a task on paper, which means it's not completed, so it is false by default, right? Then you can have another one, maybe say ID 2, title. You can say title, maybe review, MongoDB quiz, right? Then completed. You can say this one is already done. You can say this one is true. Wait and see how they are being passed. So leave it at that and make sure you close here. Now, this one holds the data type called array. So this array has objects. Remember, array has object. Object has different data types. So have that in mind. This one is going to make sure that it manages everything here. This one holds the data type or data manually. This one holds the current value. Now, let us take a look on how we can be able to trigger this function to work. How can we be able to do that? We come and say, let us toggle the task. So come and say, toggle task ID. So This ID is going to pass in as an arrow function, a special arrow function. I already talked about it last time. So set tasks. So see, this set task is going to hold the current. So say this current value, and then you're going to pass something like that. So you can come and say, this one is going to say, so current or car, you can be able to say, and then it's going to map. Mapping means it's going to scan everywhere, scanning from all the tasks. So let us call the task T. Do you remember me doing this? If you remember me doing this in a certain class, I hope you remember, or I was doing it myself in my dreams. I don't know. Then you come and say TID. Don't worry if you're floating. Don't worry if you're floating. That's JavaScript. So you're checking if the ID is there. We are going to pass something. Remember, I was doing a catch-up class. Do you remember me doing a catch-up class? I was doing something like this. Go and find the catch-up class. You're going to find exactly this kind of coding that I was talking about. You're going to find exactly this kind of coding that I'm talking about. Then you're talking about the spread operator. Yeah. Then you're going to toggle it as completed. Or if it is not complete. Do you remember me explaining something like this? Who remembers? Who remembers me talking about something like this? If you don't remember, please go through the catch-up class. You're going to find it there. It is already there. This is just JavaScript, but don't worry. Explanation of this thing is very easy, not very difficult, by the way. I'm going to explain exactly what is happening here. All these shenanigans that you're seeing here. Very simple, actually. Now, we are done with that. So let us see what am I remaining. So let me close this one. And then, you're supposed to have two here. Yeah, we have two here. So close this one and also close this one. But remember, JavaScript doesn't care. JavaScript doesn't care if you close it or not. It's a loosely typed programming language. Now we are done with this. Now let us do a return. People, don't worry. When I bring this thing out live, you're going to see. So bring out live this. Then you can say class name. Or for class name, let us put a viewport height, full viewport height, like I said, screen. And then you can say background gray. So let us have a shade of gray as well. The same thing that we did, by the way. Gray, have it as 100. Padding, have it as 6. People are floating in the audience here, but don't worry. Take it to practice, by the way. This is how you react now. So heading. So what is our heading? So task, dashboard. Actually, exactly what I'm repeating. I did the class. We said that was going to be text 3XL. We talked about 3XL, if I'm not wrong. And then we talked about the font being bold. So font. Now, the thing about Tailwind, it doesn't give you auto-completion, just like CSS. So you have to actually master. So margin bottom, give it a 4. Let us take a look on how we are faring. Okay, good. So as you can see, I've not imported index, right? But if I remove this line, by the way, okay, it should not be working actually. Why is it working? But no problem. Oh, no problem. I think I know why. Compilation issues. Now, talking about dashboard. Now, one special thing that I told you is that to bring this thing dynamically out, we are supposed to use dynamics. So we come and say something like, so we come and say tasks, dot map. We are mapping task. So somebody's worrying, you did that there. Okay, that's okay. That was for the function. This is now for us. Let me structure it in a good way. Then I'm going to say now, as soon as that is done, we are going to bring in task. Remember the task that we have here? That is what we are bringing now in here in a dynamic way. So it is coming in a key value pair method. Key value pair, they always work with what do you call objects. So I'm going to say task ID dot ID. This is JavaScript. If you're not understanding JavaScript, it's not your fault. You just need more practice. So we come and say task. That one is going to do an iteration for that. And as soon as that is done, you see people are wondering, you're saying that, this. Yeah. Remember the on click that we did? The on click that we did. So we come and say here toggle task. This toggle task is the one that you're calling here from here. And then we are not done yet. We are not done yet. There's something that I'm missing here. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Oh yeah, I've not closed this one. I have to close it. Put it there. I have to close it in a good way. Hey, come on. You see, this is now the issue of writing codes that sometimes, oh, this one is not supposed to be here. You see now my things. That one's not supposed to be there, number one. People are laughing at me. This is very normal. Yeah, number two, this is the thing that is really worrying me here. Yep, you see the error is gone. You have to really understand what you're writing. Otherwise, floating now, floating. You're going to be calling your cousins now. Now, let me explain. In theory, that's a theory. Basically, before I dive deeper, after seeing what you're going to see. Now, the tasks that you're seeing here is a stateful array. Stateful array because you can see it as objects. Number two, the toggle task that you're seeing here, because people don't understand, this one applies immutable updates with the map. So this one is going to update immutable updates to the map. Number three, changes that you're seeing there trigger the re-rendering of the React declarative model. So anything that you do in here is going to be re-rendered. What you're seeing here is a good demonstration of props versus state in terms of event handling and state liftup. Not to worry. Let me do one more component, then we are going to explain in a general way, and then we can see how use effect works, and then we can close the session. Because it's very imperative for everyone to know what is happening. So you come and do task form, because you cannot have a task if you are not able to create a task. So task form.jsx. But this one actually works, as you can see. I don't know if you are seeing. If I say done, you can see. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? When I say done, you can see it is striking. It is striking a color. When I do, you can see the changes. Ladies and gentlemen, now that is now what we call React. That is now what we call React. Somebody is wondering, how did you? Okay, it's very easy. Let us start from where the task was created. This is something that is going to display the task out there. As you can see, this is what you're seeing here in the shadow. As you can see, we have the shadow. If I remove it, you're not going to have the shadow. If I bring it back, then the shadow, as you can see. Then you're separating margin bottom. I can increase it from 2 to 8. You can see it's trying to push the other one down. That is now what we call margin bottom. You see? Now, justify between, you can see item at the center, they are all centered as well, not falling on what side. You can see it is in a flex mode, that's why you're able to center it. You can see the undo, the everything, changing from blue to green and everything that you're seeing there. As you can see, they are working. So I can come here and say, you're putting a line through, you can come and say red, right? So if you strike it, it changes to red. Strike it, changes to red. You can see. It is very easy for you to understand. I can come and say, now that one is red. Let me change the background here majorly. The background here to be black. To be black. Is it black or dark? Sometimes I get confused. Is it black or dark? I'm forgetting these things. Let me put it as yellow. I don't know my Canva guys are here. But the shade is now, let us put the shade as 400. Very yellow, as you can see. Just a single line here changing a lot. Let us just bring it back to gray. There you go. Now, let us work with the task input because I wanted to show you before I work on the task input so that you can be able to inject and see other things flowing down here. Because you are going to say, let us remove these ones. Let us remove these ones. Now, it is empty. Now, having the task input form, the task form is going to enable us to import things here. You see, it is going to enable us to input things here, but let me remove and bring them back. Now, let us proceed. Task input form. Now, the task input form that you're seeing here, first of all, I'm going to start with the usual one. And you're seeing how I work, by the way, step by step. So use state. It's coming with React. Doesn't come with anything else. So we come and say export default function. You can call this one task form. The task form is going to pass a prop. This prop is called on add. We are going to see this prop, what it does later on. So I'm going to start with the text. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you as well, so that you can see how it works barely without having data. So the text is going to be the current text that I'm typing. Then the set text, no text. You see, I'm trying to bite my tongue here. Set text. Yeah, set text. I'm almost biting my tongue. I don't know if I'm hungry or what. Then we are going to use state. This use state is going to have what? It's going to be having empty thing. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? We are talking about text, which means it's a string. It is a string. If it was a number, I'm put 0 there. If it's a number. If it's an array, I'm going to put an array. But because if it's a string, I'm using double quotes. These double quotes represent strings. That is very important for you to understand. This one is going to hold the current value of the text. This one is going to make sure that it works around to update this text. This one is going to carry the data type. Now, proceeding. Now, let us see how to handle the submit. This one, it should be something that you already know. But if you don't know, let me just repeat it. So whenever you see me writing this kind of function anytime, just know that I'm trying to, when you handle a submit, first of all, prevent the defaults. Prevent the defaults. Prevent the form from reloading. Prevent default. That's what we normally say. Prevent default. So the event that is going to happen, just prevent the default. First of all, we did this in the DOM. You remember that vividly. After that, we want to check the input from the user. So the input from the user, we are going to say, take the text from the user, trim. When you talk about trim, I've talked this countless of times. When you talk about trim, you remove the trailing, the starting white spaces and the trailing white spaces. For example, when you are typing something in an input, you put a space, then you put a name, then you put a space. So that space before and after, the thing that you're putting there, you have to trim it. So remove it and remove it. The same thing happens even in Google Forms if you don't know, but it is not visible. So check the text from the user, trim it, and then check if it is not there, we are negating. If it is not there, just return empty. Just return empty. So first of all, you combat the issue of having empty inputs before it happens. After that, let us now work on that prop which is saying add on add. So on add, what are we adding? We're adding a text. So that's a prop that you're passing for calling on add. You're going to see how to work around with that. After that, just run everything via the text and update. So set text, update the string. So you're running it. So after doing all of this, it's going to take and put it inside here. And then it's going to be passed here. So let us proceed. This text is going to be taken and added here. This one is going to take and put it here, and then we're okay. Now let us proceed. Slowly, slowly. The next step is now, remember I'm working within the function, not outside. Even the return, I don't know if you are observant, even the return that you're seeing here, this yellow, it's all within this. If I put that one, as you can see, it is swallowing everything. Don't work this function within the function and then this one outside is not going to, it's not going to work at all. Now, proceeding. Return. I believe now you're familiar with this return thing. So we're talking about a form. So this form, we're going to remove the action. Though I'm not interested in the action, we are not dealing with HTML anymore. Now the action. So form, what are we going to pass here on submit? So as soon as we submit, what is supposed to happen? On submit, as soon as we submit, we are supposed to pass in the handle submit. You're supposed to pass in this function. It's going to know exactly, okay, we're talking about submitting. This is the exact process you're supposed to do. So it's going to be passed to the handle submit. Then let us style it. So styling it, let's flex it, and then put a bottom. So flex it, then margin bottom 4. It is the standard one, by the way. Now after that, what should happen next? Later we'll talk about a form, talk about inputs. So talk about inputs. Remember, we are not dealing with HTML. So forget everything that you have about HTML and then focus on this. So which means I'm going to remove things like that. So first of all, we start by styling. So normally, what I normally see people doing is they normally style it like this. They normally style it like this. So you come and put class name. You normally put it in the next line. So flex 1, P2. Yeah, okay, it's not P2, the one that you're thinking, is just padding 2. Then say border. Don't want to be sued here. So rounded to be large. On a light note though, if you don't get it, forget about it. Value. So the value that you're taking here is what? What is the exact value that you're taking here? It's called text. The text is the value, the one that you're taking, the current value. After that, we take on change. So on change, this is going to do a lot. So on change, we're supposed to effect it like this. So set text, because this one is going to take the changes. So target. Somebody's wondering, what are you talking about? So don't worry. Just some things you have to cram. Don't even ask how they are there. So the placeholder, new task. Maybe. Like the new task that you're putting there. It's not a function, just a word that you're putting there. Now, that input is done. So you are already inputting a task. Let us now put a button. So this button, what is going to happen about this button is very simple. So the type is going to be submit. So the type is going to be submit. And what else? We're talking about styling it, right? So class P2, like padding spacing for the padding. The BG should be blue with a shade of 500. Yeah, 500. And then you're talking about the text being white. Are you seeing how Tailwind is very easy? Then rounded. Rounded R. Let us put R. Now that is done. Let us now put something to do with what do you call? Now this one is going to be called add. That button name is going to be called add. Very simple. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you should be able to understand is how to control the component is through the value and the on change. That's how you control what the component is having. Number two, handling the submit to prevent the default from reloading. So this one here is very important. Another thing is that you are calling the on add text, this one here. You are calling it to lift new item to the parent. So as soon as you're done putting what you're putting here, you are supposed to call this one. This one is called add text. So it's going to take the value, put it here. After that, this one is going to take it to the parent. So where's the parent? The parent should be found is going to take it here. But don't worry, that one is going to be explained really well. Now, another thing is that you can be able to integrate even a date, like the ID. If you don't have the ID, you can just come here, by the way. You can just come here. You see where I did the current and everything and everything? You can just come and set the task here and let it have the joy of this time. Like, how do you integrate it inside the app? You can come and just remove this one because we no longer need this, right? We no longer need this. So to integrate it inside app, let me see. To integrate this one inside app should be very simple, should be something that works really well for you. You see, should be something that works really well for you. So let me see. The clock person has started talking. I don't know why. The clock person has started talking. We are almost done. We're almost done. I know it's lunchtime. It's almost lunchtime. Let me just move. After this, I'll land on the use effect, then you can go. Then we'll meet afternoon. Make sure you are there. Make sure you are there. Now, I want to be able to integrate this task form to be able to be inside here. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Remember, you can be able even to save it in the local storage if you want to. We can do that. So we can just, okay, we can do a lot. Just know we can do a lot. And because I have notes and because time is running, allow me, because mine are commented, I should be able to explain them really fast. So let me just copy. Allow me to copy this one. I have the notes. I woke up early in the morning to prepare all of this. Now, let me explain. This we've already talked about, importing the task. Now, the task form is now the new player here in the game, importing it. But now, how do we achieve everything? So first of all, we initialize the state and loading it from the local storage if the data exists. So what do we mean? So we come and put the task and everything. Then we initialize it. You see, the use state has a lot of things to do. So returns a stateful value and a function to update it. So how do you make sure that you return a stateful value and a function to update it? You come and say, let us save everything there. Every task that is being given from the user, we save it in local storage. That is something that comes out of the box in every node environment. So we save it. So what do you save? First of all, let us save everything that we had before. We save it like that. So saved. If it is not saved, take everything, pass it in a JSON manner, then save it. Now, how do you persist the task whenever the changes are happening? How do you make sure that this remain? How do you persist? So remember, I'm going to talk about the use effect. Let me leave it at that for now. I'm going to talk about the use effect next. But just to tell you what is happening is that use effect, for you to persist everything, as soon as you mount the task, this one means you mount the tasks. This one is going to react and save everything, but I'm going to explain that. But what you are supposed to actually know, this I've already explained, toggle the task complete status immutably. So you're toggling it, make sure that you complete or not completed. And then this one is the new guy. You remember the add task. So it takes even the on add as well, but this one specifically takes the ID as the date. Now it's not going to appear like this. The date, the title, completed or not. So it's not going to take it as like this. And then return, of course, everything you take on add. Remember, this one is the parent element. So it's going to take that on add, like I told you. Take the text, put it here, take this one, put it here. So every time you're working with task form on add, it's going to take as well that one. Then you're going to check the length and everything and everything. If the task is completed, you're going to say, if the task is not there, you're going to say no task yet, add one above. Okay, people, let us see how this one behaves. There you go. So let me undo this. You can say it is persisting even if I refresh. Okay, let us say React.js class. You come and say add. You can see here it is. It behaves the same way, the same way. I can refresh. You can see it refreshing, but it persists. The data persists. Now, let us talk about the use effect for this one particularly. But let me start with the first one from the top so that we can be able to understand. Detailed explanation. We initialize the state using the use state. So using a function initializer for the use state is very efficient. Why? It runs only once. So this enables loading saved task from local storage without any issue at all, or falling back to the default that we had. That is number one that you're seeing there. Number two, we're talking about immutable updates. So how do you do immutable updates? So immutable updates, as soon as you see ID or as soon as you see map. So using .map function or .map method returns a new array preserving immutability. So whenever you see me using this one, it's all about immutability. You don't want to lose data. Then of course the spread operator that you're seeing here. The spread operator that you're seeing here, this is something that you have to understand. So the spread syntax of the spread operator entirely up to here. So this spread operator, the spread syntax, creates a new task object, avoiding direct mutations. The English is very difficult, but please just understand it barely. The local storage sinks using the use effect that you're seeing here. So first, the use effect loads the task on mount. So as soon as you see something like this, just understand that we are loading it. We are loading all the tasks as soon as we mount. Mounting means as soon as the server runs. As soon as you see it on the browser, that is mounting. As soon as that happens, it's going to mount all the tasks that are there. And where are the tasks? We can see all of them that are here, which are in the task, which are in the current value. Can be this one, can be the new ones, and so on. That's why as soon as I refresh, nothing disappears. Number two, use effect is there to listen, or in this case, use effect, which is listening to the tasks that you're seeing here, saves whenever the list changes. That's why you are seeing something like this. Saves whenever the list changes. So it's there to enable persisting state across the entire application, even if you reload. Number four, so adding task via the task form. That is something that can be difficult that you're seeing here. But just to paraphrase, add task prepends the new task immutably. So it is there to prepend the new task immutably without losing data. So the new task, when talking about prepending, I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. Prepend. This one is prepending. If it is appending, it will be below this one. This one is prepending. So it is putting it on top of the list, not at the end of the list. On top, like before anything else, it is the first one. So it adds the task as the first one, the high priority. So prepends the task, the new task immutably, and the new task object or objects are there. They are there which are constructed with the required properties. So these are the props or the properties that you're seeing there. Now, how do you control? Number five, how do you control the components in the tasks? How do you control them? This is how you control them. This one is not coming even from here. You can be able to come and check it here. So to control them, I said we use the value and the onChange. So the input value is tied to the React state, making it a controlled component. In some cases, people are going to say this is part of legacy React and so on, but that's not a problem. So the input is there to control. The onChange updates the state, ensuring React controls the UI input. This thing is very important. This thing is very important. Now, proceeding the last explanation, conditional rendering. What are we talking about? A friendly message appears when the task is empty. Where do we see that? We can be able to see here. If the task is empty, so this one is conditional rendering, what you're seeing here. So this one is rendering what is supposed to be there. But if it is not there, you see that. This one is called conditional rendering. You can be able to see the question mark and this one. We have seen that a lot in our coding. A lot. Here it is. We have others here. Where is it? Here. These are part of conditional rendering. So the first part, what it means that, for example, let me go here. Where is it? So let me go here. So you're saying if the task is there, please, if the task is there, what you're seeing here, please just make sure you show this one. If it is not there, you put a colon, then render this one. So no task yet, add one above. So that one should be able to tell you a lot about that. But let us go about use effects, then I'm going to wrap it up, I promise. We are going to wrap it up because time is really much gone. We'll talk about reusable components, shared CN we're going to talk about later on, and also seeing how use effects can be able to be working inside APIs. Now, use effects. We are talking about use state and use effects. So let us go to use effects and browse because you have been browsing a lot. Use effects. So use effect in React. What is it exactly? Because when you understand state hooks, use effects, you understand components, you understand JSX, you understand tailoring or any styling like CSS, you're done with React. The others, they just come and go. The bottom line is done. You have to understand that you have to know JavaScript basics. Now, the use effects. So it's called the use effect hook. It's a fundamental part of React for handling side effects. When you take medicine, there are side effects, right? Side effect of you getting that headache gone, your stomach grumbling and everything. Those are side effects of the medicine. They take effect. So there are side effects in functional components. So it allows developer to perform tasks such as data fetching. That's why I'm saying use effects is even used in API handling. So somebody was wondering, how do you bring data from the backend to the front end? Use effects. So it's called use effect hook. So data fetching, setting up event listeners, cleaning up resources. As soon as you're saying, as soon as I refresh the page, I want all data gone. So we have major functions. So use effects can be used to run the code after a component renders. You're saying, as soon as I fill up the form, I want this one to happen. That's why you can be able to see, I'm able to put this one, as soon as I hit add, I can be able to see it rendering without refreshing the page. I can come here and say, Hands-on React. As soon as I hit add, as you can see, nothing was reacting here, but the effect dynamically updated everything here. I can come and do everything that I want to do inside there. Now, the common use cases for use effect, because you have to understand this, is that it is being used to fetch data from an API, which means backend. Number two, setting up and cleaning up event listeners. Number three, directly manipulating the DOM. This one is the guru now. This one is the guy that makes sure that as soon as I say hands-on here and then put add, you're able to see it there. Number three, or number four, managing subscriptions or timers. You're saying, let us put a time of 3 seconds, then this one should happen. As soon as you're loading a page, for example, I was having this browser of mine, a lot of use effect was used there. So you're saying, you see, and then after maybe 2 seconds, that image or video happens there. That is use effect that is happening. This is a browser, this is a website that I created for my gaming engine that I was working on. Don't believe me? Let me show you the about. There's me and my team. So as soon as you load the entire page, as you can see, 2 seconds, and then sometimes you can say, you see, the video happens. Now, that one is part of use effect. That is part of use effect, if you don't know. If you go to features, you can see that one happening. Okay, this is part of what we call shared CN. I'm going to show you later on. And even you can come and see even these things striking from top left to top right. You can be able to see them striking, eh, and dancing and everything. This is just part of UI. Now, this is use effect. You have to understand use effect really well because it is something that when you go and delve deep into it, is going to be amazing for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is React in a nutshell. If you're floating, no problem. Just make sure you understand JavaScript basics up to the DOM level. Go and understand states that I've just talked about, understand use effect, understand components, how are components being used. And finally, understand JSX because that's the real UI now. JSX now is now HTML and JavaScript all in one. Now, I was to talk about ShadCN, but later on. Now, I believe I've been talking to myself for a while, but not to worry. Let me see how are my people doing. I'm going to open the charts. I'm also exhausted, by the way. Questions come through the Q&A. I'm going to answer some of them here. Where the repo is going to come. If you're floating, don't worry. You are floating in MongoDB. Right now, you're not floating. If you're floating right now in MongoDB, and you're in my class since day one, I'm saying that you are joking. Or PWA, Progressive Web Application. Yeah. Okay, let me allow people to raise up their hands as well. I'm famished right now. Floating is okay. If you have actually some of you are floating in the MongoDB class right now, you are not floating. Am I right? Yeah, so you see, right now you're not floating because you did your thing, you did your research. So let us get people raising up their hands, comments, questions. Start with I don't know the name. Kindly unmute. The name is very difficult.
Dami.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Dedan.
Afternoon on my side.
Sorry. Good afternoon, Mr. Dedan.
Afternoon.
I think my question is when you were explaining um, the code that you wrote on use effects, I didn't really get all of the comments. So I was able to get from the use effects that you used for the tax form, the task um, to listen and to save whenever the list changes. But I didn't get the ones you talked about before spread effect. Sorry, before the spread operator.
Oh, you're
And
talking about the spread operator. Okay.
no, before that, the
Mm-hmm.
part where you were talking about the use effects in the coding. That's before you talked about the part that handles the events when the list changes, and also the part of the conditional rendering when the table changes. Sorry, when you inserted value and unchange at components to control that aspect. So I didn't understand the parts before that when you're talking about the methods.
So let me just confirm because I guess my mind is somewhere else. You're talking about this,
No, the part before that.
this year or where?
Yeah.
So they use effects.
Yes.
Now, the use effects, they normally tend to carry, what do you call? Trying to find the name. They normally tend to carry even dependencies and everything. But especially trying to explain something like this in detail, as you can see what is happening here. is that we are trying to save data and keep persistency. You see, we're trying to save data and keep persistency. But just to explain it in a very good way, in a nutshell, is that use effect, as you can see, it offers side effects like actions outside React render cycle. That is what I'm talking about. Side effects in use effects means like actions outside the React render cycle, like database, updates, timers, browser storage, and everything. Specifically, what you're seeing here, local storage is there to store the key value pairs, like I told you, the key value pairs. I already told you like something like that. In the browser to persist across page reloads. So we convert the tasks into array strings using the stringify, the JSON stringify tasks. So it can be stored locally only, it can be stored in the local storage. So local storage only accepts strings for now,
Oh,
as far as I know. Let me continue. That is the use effect. Now, the dependency, like I said, the use effects, they normally come with the dependencies. So the dependency for the use effect that you're seeing here is called task. So the second argument or the dependency array that you're seeing there, because this is the second argument, the second argument of the dependency array specifies when to run the effect or when the use effect should be able to react or to put a side effect. So
mm,
the when there that you are seeing there, so when a variable inside the array changes, when a variable inside the array changes, React reruns the effect after rendering. After, remember after. So
okay.
since it is tasks, which means anytime the task changes, you add it, you remove it, you toggle it, you do anything about the task. This is like anytime is going to save it. Let me continue. So without this array, what should happen? So with no array, it is going to run after every render, number one. So the empty array, if it was just without this, without the task, it's an empty array, it's going to run only once, which means on mount. That is what normally happens. Now let me bring back, because it's a dependency. So I hope you have gotten that part. So
Yeah.
why use it here? Okay, I can go on and on and on, but I believe I've answered your question. What's the next question?
The next question I was asking was, okay, you already explained the parts where it runs and runs and runs when something changes. So the next
Mhm.
part was the prepending the task immutably. So I understood that part, but I did not understand how that controls the input.
And how it controls the inputs. That's
Yeah,
what
I
you're
did not.
talking about soon.
Yeah, I did not fully understand that part.
Okay, it is not that hard, by the way. Now,
Okay.
let me gather my thoughts. Let me gather my thoughts. Now, to prepend the task mutably, that you already understand, right? Now, how do you control inputs? Because that is something that, where is it? It is here, line 18, right? Now, a control input in React, like a control input means that React states is the source of truth. Like if the states are saying this way, you're supposed to follow. So there are three steps to be able to control an input. Number one, you just don't control an input from line 18 as well. You just control an input from all the way from here, line 4. So you create a state that holds the value or the input value. So line 4 is there to hold the value. Then you come to this function, which is going to, what do you call, it's going to handle the submit. So it's going to handle changes to update the state on each keystroke. Like as soon as you're doing things, updates. Now it is going to carry, of course, the E and everything, but this E is being used, this as an event is being used here. So how do you control it step by step? Because the main question that I believe you want to ask is exactly what is this? If I'm not wrong, because I've said that like it is there to control the input from everything that we are doing. Now, I've said we start from line 4, we go on to handling submit, then after that, we go to on change. Now, in React, on change is an event handler attached to form elements like input, text area. So as soon as you see an input, something about an input, just say on changes, there's an event handler. So unlike plain document object model whereby you say change event or something like React on change fires on every keystroke. It is similar to the input event on the browser. Like as soon as you type something on browser, something is, you're given suggestions. Now, that's the matter of on change. Now to proceed, the event handler itself, which you're seeing here, the event handler itself, which is E and everything and everything. This one is an event handler that you're seeing here.
Yeah.
So it concise, it is like it's a concise arrow function that you're seeing there. So E is an event object passed by React when user types. So when you type, it's an object that is being passed. E.target, so you already understand that set text, that's a function. So E.target, what is it? So the E.target points the DOM element itself. So it's there to point to the DOM element itself. We are pointing directly. So what's the DOM element that you're working on? Input. So that's the DOM element. So we are pointing directly. E.target.value gives the current text inside the text field. So E.target, we are pointing directly where? To the input. Then dot value is now the value inside the input, or the child, or the value that is inside the input. That's what we're talking about. So, which means that we are saying input and the value, we are taking all of that, putting inside here. Then it's being rendered as an event on each keystroke. So every time the user presses a key, the function runs, by the way. Every time you type something, the function runs automatically. Now, we are going to see that in debugging and something, how it works, by the way. You are going to see how to write console logs and then how it works. So how does it update the state? So the set text that you're seeing here is a setter function. Remember things like setter, getter? I am talking the second time about this, the setter getters, but if you don't know, go and check. So the set text is a setter function from where? So it's a setter function from where? From here.
Yeah.
But what exactly? So passing the e.target.value updates the text. It is there to update. So this one updates the text. So it updates this text state to reflect the current input. If I'm saying dead done, as the value is going to put here dead done. You see? So updating the state triggers the re-rendering. It's going to trigger here now. Triggers the re-rendering, reflecting the update on the unit. So I believe now I've already explained it, the details.
Yeah.
Any other question that I've not answered from you, then I go to the next person. Let's go to Angela.
Yeah.
Good
Yes.
morning, Tito Dedan. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, morning on your side, afternoon on my side.
Oh, okay. It's still morning. It's 10:33 a.m. So
Yeah.
please, I have when I started my programming journey, I think my major first challenge was selector in CSS. Then when I was able to understand it, I played a lot with colors, even putting colors on some images. Now going forward, I've explored a little bit of Bootstrap. I'm exploring Tailwind on this lecture. And I don't know the way it is structured. Is it possible to use color codes in Tailwind? Because in the CSS, there are some things that, if you want to achieve maybe particular shades, you have to use color codes. Then if you want to maybe place color on an image, like use a color to cover an image, so the image looks somehow, I think I did that in one of my projects, you have to use the RGB and then give it some value, and I think set to 0.5. So those things, are they achievable in Tailwind or in Bootstrap? And again, does it mean that if I want to do some certain things, that is, if they are not achievable, does it mean if I want to do some certain thing, I'll still have to like go back to CSS, like do some kind of configurations, or should I say modifications on CSS? Like, I'm just trying to get the hang of it.
Now, handling color code in Tailwind is the easiest of all. Is the easiest of all, if you don't know. Now, when I say the easiest, normally when you go to tailwind.config, as you can see, with Tailwind 4, we don't have, with Tailwind 4, let me go there, with Tailwind 4, we don't have anywhere that they are saying, please use tailwind.config, because in the other Tailwind versions, we used to have this. Let me show you. We used to have tailwind.config. Tailwind.config, where is it? Yeah, you see, this is where we used to put our color coding. This is where we used to put
Okay.
our color coding. But that doesn't mean that it is gone, it's not gone. It is still there, only that you are allowed now to put that inside the CSS now. But how do you achieve that? How do you achieve that? In here, I've been talking about color coding, by the way. When talking about BG Blue 500, that's a shade. Remember when you say about a blue that then you can be able to change the shade of the blue. When you say BG Blue 500, that's a color coding shade. But
Okay.
how do you achieve that? So let me take you back. I believe you can be able to search it somewhere. Let me bring it like a code. I don't know. It is VS Code. It is always here, by the way. Code plugins, theme configuration. Let's take a look at this one, by the way. Here it is. Here it is. It is version. This one should be version 4. Let me see version 4. Where do you search? Yeah, code. So disabling code plugins, or let's say just color code. Yeah, working with color codes. So here it is. Very well structured, as you can see. This is how you do it. Like when you talk about sky, BG 550 all the way to 950, these are just shades. This is exactly how RGB is normally working. So it is very easy. It is very easy in Tailwind than in CSS, because just know, if you're, instead of putting that hash, those string, like you're trying to put a red, I understand your RGB format. In Tailwind, you don't need to do that, because out of the box, they have already made it very easy for you to do that. If you want to work with topography directly, remember this one is version 4. This is how you do it. Remember I told you in version 3 and below, they were using tailwind.config, but in version 4, that has been removed. They're using it directly inside. For example, if I want to use this one, I just come and say at layer components and put my topography. My typography, I believe you understand, is where you just declare your theme, how my theme is, what I want my theme to be. So if you're working with gray, instead of putting hash and something, just come and say color gray 950. There's that shade for gray. There's that shade for blue, shade for, and so on and so forth. When I hover, I want something to happen. Like my entire theme happens inside the CSS. Very simple, very easy.
Okay, thank you so much.
I believe if you go and practice more, because for me, I've not used Tailwind version 4 for long. This was just come out, by the way. And there's a course here that is new. As you can see, there's a free course for Tailwind, just to make sure that people are up to date with version 4. Because version 4 tends to confuse a lot of people. So you can jump on it and go and watch it.
All right, thank you so very much. On their website, right?
Yeah, their website.
All right, thank you so much.
Let me take one more question on famished. Let me take now from this Kenyan person called Opara. Ikena.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dedan.
Oh, your name sounds like Kenyan, by the way.
No, I'm from Nigeria.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon, class. And good morning. So basically, my question is, I've not actually been really available. Even the last class we did before this, so I've been a little bit confused with the classes and the applications that we are using. So I just want to ask, all this tailwind that we are downloading, are we downloading as extension file on VS Code?
So
All these tailwind and co React and all these are we downloading it as extension on VS Code?
now extensions are a different thing. We are not using extensions. As you can see, since you started, you don't have, if you want to have an extension, you just come here. These are called dependencies and plugins. Dependencies and plugins, most of the time, you're going to find them in here. Let me show
So
you npmjs.com. These are dependencies and plugins purely.
so how do we get the plugins? How do we get the plug? Like now, you are using React on VS Code. How did you get to use React on VS Code?
Now, VS Code is a code editor that
Yes.
can use any code. You can just program anything. Now, for us to do this, we followed a specific instruction whereby we initialize the project. Let me just zoom in. We initialize the project by saying pnpm create invite at latest. Then we put the name of the project, maybe my app, right? So this is how we brought it. Now the project it was created, right? After the project is created, if you have the terminal or any terminal, you can just go into the project and say code, then space. It's going to open the project inside VS Code. That is that is one option. Another option that you can be able to use is go to the project itself, right click, and then there's a place called open. So you can come and send open with. On Windows is very easy. Then come and choose VS Code. You can see we have VS Code here. So that's how you open it. VS Code is just a code editor that you can use to write codes of any programming languages or anything. Now, this is how you do it. VS Code and these things are not related. We are not using extensions. This is just for coding. We can use VS Code or anything.
Yeah, for some of these codes to work, like when we using Node.js, we had to download the extension of Node.js for it to be working effectively. Like
No.
database now, I had to download the extension for it to work. You
Now,
get what I'm trying to say?
they are not called extensions. They are not called extensions. These are packages and plugins. Please,
Okay, they are plugins.
the extensions are for VS Code. These are called packages and plugins. So you have to install Node.js for anything JavaScript to work. For anything React, you have to have Node.js installed. For anything MongoDB to work, you have to install the tools necessary for MongoDB to work, like the MongoDB server for the MongoDB database to work, and the MongoDB compass for you to be able to see exactly how your database is faring.
Yeah,
Are you
sorry, I
understand?
was trying. Yeah, thank you. Maybe it's English that probably the English I'm using for it. Like, instead of me to use plugins, I'm using extension because of the name of this icon is extension. Probably that's why I'm using extension. So it's plugin. So basically, sorry, I tried to download that community server for MongoDB. I got to the last where it said completed, and the thing restarted again. I don't know. And sorry, this local host you are using, what local host is this? Is it for MongoDB?
No, localhost is just after firing it. You see, after firing everything, this is how you say pnpm run dev. This is for Node.js. As you can see, it takes me to localhost 5173. This is a localhost that is running on Vite. So how do you fire it up? You run it this way. It is not
How
for
can
MongoDB, it's for React.
okay, how can I download this local host or how do I use it?
No,
Sorry.
you do not download localhost. It is right directly from Node.js.
Okay, so if I download Node.js, I'm going to see it on my system.
But you have to run it the correct way.
Sorry, please, I'm not really understanding. Like, this is an Node.js. You said we are going to download the plugins. So when we download the plugins, is it going to come with the local host?
Localhost is not something that it has to come with. It is there. It's a network that allows you to actually see what you are doing exactly. Are you understanding me? For
Yes.
example, for MongoDB, it has localhost 27017 and so on. That is a port that you can be able to use to see exactly how your program is running in a certain network. So localhost runs locally. If you put it online, it's going to run using your domain. It's an environment.
Okay, yeah, okay, it's an environment on its own for my system, right? Like if I down like now when I downloaded the database came up with some local host too. That is it how it's going to be for Node.js? Because I was thinking you said Node.js is just for plugins.
Node.js is a runtime environment for anything JavaScript or anything that works with React or anything Express. That's a runtime environment. A runtime environment for MongoDB is MongoDB server. You see, everything has a runtime environment. So allows you to run your program inside that environment. So as you can see right now, we are in our Node.js runtime environment. That's why it has that localhost. MongoDB has a runtime environment, has its own localhost for running your project locally.
Oh, like the way I'm going to download all those MongoDB server community that's going to come with
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
But sorry, yeah, I'm getting it now. So the Node.js you are talking about, am I also going to download it like an application that's going to come with a local host too?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Sorry, please, I've not been following the class so well, so that's why I'm asking these questions. If I could just get a complete maybe a complete file or notes of what I'm going to download for this main stack this thing. I've not really been. Last week I made a mistake. I thought whether the class was by 10. I went to follow Kenyan time, so I was unable to catch up with the class. So this week I got to know that okay, 8 o'clock is for any West Africa time. So
Now, I've understood you. You're going to find the documents later on, but time is far much gone,
yeah,
and we
thank
need
you.
to
Thank you,
exit
sir.
here.
Yeah, appreciate. Yes, sir.
Now, don't know.